Right when I was stepping out, the world shut down.
All of a sudden, it was just like, what am I gonna do? They're working hard, they're working multiple jobs, they want health insurance, they want to own a house in the future. It's all the things that everybody wants and every generation has ever wanted.
You turn on Instagram and you see someone that looks like your older brother getting shot on a camera. It's crippling.
Every year at this age, it feels like if I don't get things started now, I won't be successful in the future.
Students have always struggled with their mental health. When you no longer have any social interactions to keep you going, it gets even worse. I've always struggled with depression, especially throughout college, and I think being alone, feeling guilty, definitely just strains it even more. I lost a lot of my opportunities because of coronavirus. I do know 3 people that have taken their life the past few months just because of the situation. I'm just lucky to not be living in the same room with other people. I would have had to go back home, quarantine somewhere else, and unknowingly gave it to a lot more people.
I'm definitely starting to panic and read self-help books and like career guidance books and try to like feel productive. It's really hard at this age to not feel like you're growing at all.
Yeah.
Or changing.
Every year at this age, it feels like if I don't get things started now, I won't be successful in the future. And that's really scary when there's not much to be productive about right now.
A lot of people our age, a lot of our friends, don't want to go back to their parents. They don't want to rely on their parents. Most
Yeah, we're
of them,
seeing people move home for the first time
yeah,
in huge numbers, and that's just like not.
out of necessity and out being responsible, you know. But it's miserable. Nobody wants to do that. We all take pride in, you know, being independent. So I think that's really a last resort.
I typically don't show up in this type of way and speak this candidly about my struggles, right? I try to be very intentional, again, with showing all of the positivity that comes along with being an African-American, cisgender, queer man. It's extremely difficult. There's a lot happening in the world right now. Everything from race relations to navigating the economy to being hyper-focused on things happening with this election really has the world kind of running at hyper speed. Instagram and you see someone that looks like your older brother getting shot on a camera, when you go into your Facebook chat and the first thing you see is a message about how Breonna Taylor hasn't received justice and those are the highlights of your day, it's crippling. So I'm going through this quarantine alone. And I'm really leaning into all of the virtual platforms to stay connected with my very close friends and family.
And at first, I'm sure it sounded like this really silly idea of like playing video games. But we're just gonna play video games, and then drilling it down into the therapeutic value of it and how we can connect and how can we make this confidential and how can we make this secure. One of the things that this pandemic did is that it made the inevitable things of tomorrow be something that we have to consider today. So this is our front desk. And normally you would check in and the youth know the setup. They come in and they say, hey, I'm here to see Braulio. And so then they have a seat. They all conspired and they built secret tunnels because they really wanted to connect. We're struggling with this concept of how do we connect with each other and how can we be in a community with each other. And so kids are very innovative and they will figure it out that connection is everything and community is everything.
I've always used friends and family as an outlet to feel better. And it's unfortunate that you aren't able to hang out in large situations. I know this is a situation that's going to be happening for a few years. I don't know what's going to happen next. We'll have to see.
May the souls of Black folk living and rested be lifted and liberated through love and light always. We speak power and strength and courage upon your name, for it has been written and it is the final say. My soul can't sleep. I got these visions that I can't shake.
Here's the problem with trying to change broken, oppressive systems. You're out in the trenches, whether you are a protester, whether you volunteer for a nonprofit, whether you're working in politics, you're still dealing with the traumatic and negative impacts of these broken systems.
You don't really see the impact that it's having on your body or the impact that it's having on your mental development.
We play Russian roulette with our mind all the time because we are not mindful and intentional about the way that we treat it. Our body keeps the score, it doesn't forget. The effects is not always direct. It's not like if I cut my hand, I'm bleeding, and I see it immediately. Unfortunately, with mental health and the way that we are acting on things that are taking place, the effects are trickling.
I can't rest. There's too much unrest and a knee against my neck is a plea to blue blood, but I digress.
The world doesn't see, I don't think, like the manic side of it, like where you're in your head, your mind's moving like 1,000 minutes per second, you know? It's just constantly going.
When you're out there on the streets, you don't feel protected.
We're living in a time in our country where a fellow citizen might kill you for what you believe and might kill you for trying to engage, for trying to use your First Amendment right to have a discourse about what's best for this country.
I'll march in the streets and fight to the death of me.
The reality is that fighting for freedom has always come at a cost. Whether it has been those who fought to free enslaved people, whether it was those who fought for voting rights, we are continuing to see the sacrifices that we must take to make sure that there's a better future so that those coming after us will not suffer.
I'll protect what's mine and my right to breathe.
I'm like, do I need to be prepared for whatever?
Just have to be constantly aware and protective of myself and of my family. And it does cause anxiety. It causes PTSD. It causes depression.
When I get home, it's even worse because like I'm not actively out doing anything.
There's going to be moments where if you're trying to create peace, you're going to feel guilty because you know there's a struggle going on.
This is crazy. How many times we repeat history? A cycle of dysfunction manifesting generationally.
As a Black woman, there is this complex and a stereotype that we don't feel, that we can handle pain in a way that a white woman can't. It's a really disturbing understanding of Black womanhood, and it's untrue. You know, we are human beings. We feel, we hurt, we feel pain, and we feel love too.
It can be a very lonely place to be an activist. But the reality is that experience of isolation is a limited experience. You're gonna find community, you're gonna find supporters, and ultimately, you living your values will allow you to end up in a place where you feel belonging and happiness.
For me, it's writing. I'm a writer. I do stay busy in a lot of different avenues of the protest. But for me, it's just writing. It is exploring poetry.
I have a creek in my backyard, and I'm just gonna go sit by the creek and just listen to the water babble and talk and just let that soothe my mind.
I remind myself, this is a test. This is a test of our community's resilience. This is a test of my ability to wait, listen, and take action for justice when the time is ready. And so that is my calling. Despite the stress, we have to know what is worth it.
That's how we win this fight, is by taking care of ourselves first. Have grace with yourself. You're human. You're not going to always be consistent, and just take it one day at a time, but always keep your goal in front of you, and that's how you get the work done.
Turn anger into action. Turn pain into protest. Turn rage into revolution. I say this in the Creator's name. Stay blessed. Amen.
March, I got what we call a sober job and nothing too stressful at TJ Maxx, and within a week I was furloughed. I started to get extremely hopeless again.
I got my first 30-day chip, and then a few days later, chaotic things happened. A lot of times recovery is part of a trial. It's gonna happen. There's some chaos, and I wasn't following my steps like I should have. I had a great sponsor, and instead of calling him, I just turned my phone off and used a new drug.
This is not just a big story, this is a mammoth story. Individuals are having a harder time accessing treatment. There were already pre-existing huge gaps in care between what's needed and what was actually being delivered prior to COVID-19.
Suicides are up 1,000%. Mental health calls are up 850%. Overdoses are up 33%. Alcohol sales are up 250, 300%. Prescriptions for anti-anxiety meds, Xanax, sleeping pills are up 63%. There is not enough people talking about this. I feel personally 100 to 200 phone calls per day. And 90% of the people just don't know where to go.
I was laying in the hotel room, starting to go through my withdrawals, and I picked up the phone and I called 911. The lady on the phone said, "Honey, just stay on the phone with me."
My grandmother passed away this year. I felt like I was doing a good thing by seeing her, being there with her while she's passing. I told her we'd go to church, and she looked at me and started crying and said, "You sure we're gonna go next Sunday?" I didn't know my grandma was telling me goodbye. And I thought she was worried about me for being high. So I thought that would make me stop using drugs, but it did nothing but make me use more because I was depressed. I had nowhere to go. I cried the night it happened because I felt like kind of was my fault that she was in pain because her grandson is using drugs, and I should have played sports and college. I should have everything the right way, but I let everybody down. Addiction is a constant battle. It never goes away. You're always one drink away, one line away, anything away from falling off. And then as soon as you do that, it's over with. You lose everything.
Technology does not solve the problem. You need to be face-to-face physically with people, a hug. At the end of the meeting, just knowing that someone is right there with you. It's the isolation, it's the lack of community, it's the lack of resources now that I think is even more devastating than COVID itself.
It's already hard enough to see your family as it is in active addiction. Nobody wants to talk to you. You might be stuck outside, you don't know where to go. So all you can want to do is just keep using more and more and more. And it's hard when you don't have a support system. Support system is the main thing you need in recovery. You know, I've only been sober for 30 days, but it's been the greatest 30 days of my life because I've got my family back.
Life will still be there, even if you need to go somewhere. But life's not going to be there unless, you get the help that you need. It's not shameful Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. Life happens, and everyone has something that they're going through.
As long as like one person gets better, I'll be happy. One person finds me on Facebook and says, "Hey, I saw your story. You know, it touched me." You know what I'm saying? And I hope that happens for somebody, even one person.
I downloaded it and I just started doing some really dumb videos. And I was very shocked that people liked them. Yeah.
Thank you for being a friend.
The first one, I'm literally sitting on a couch in a sweater with no makeup on like this, lip singing to Golden Girls. I started with 0 and I'm now at almost 640,000 followers, which is crazy to me.
I got a song that I sing.
Me lip singing to Frank Sinatra with the remote in my hand. And the fact that someone would message me and say, this brings me so much joy and I've had such a hard day. I've just made such really, really cool connections and new friends over it, just from meeting people on TikTok. I had my year completely lined up with jobs and bookings, and I lost everything in 2 days. I was like, oh, this will probably be fine within the next month, next 2 months. But then as the weeks went by, more and more canceled, and I realized I have nothing. I have no job. I am gonna have to dig out of my savings. It's been almost 7 months, and I'm still processing that my life is being completely changed right now. It helps me to get through it, to know that I'm not alone. I also like to make others know that they're not alone as well.
All I hear are young adults saying, I just can't wait for things to get back to normal. Not realizing we don't even know when that's gonna be and what normal is going to look like.
For the first 5 months of this, I would not come within 6 feet of anyone if I could avoid it. You just kind of lose contact with people, it feels like.
I have not been to the office since March. I think it still hits every now and then, the stir crazy and the isolation.
I can't just, pick up the phone call and be like, hey, let's go to a bar or something. Let's go just relax and have some fun. We can't do that.
A lot of my friends, and even me, a lot of times, just, it's scary getting out.
They've never been isolated from their friends. They're in an age where their social interaction is their life. Everything I need it now, right now. You can't do that with this pandemic. You can change your narrative.
This is the first time I've been over here to get ice cream.
How does it feel?
It feels really good.
Getting a change of scenery is very nice. Seeing somebody new is very nice.
I was speaking to a client yesterday who went to a concert, and the way that they set up the concert was pods. You couldn't have any more than 6 in your pod.
We tried to play Cards Against Humanity on a Zoom call. That didn't work out very well.
This is really lame, but so I was really bored, so I was like, I'm gonna start a fast food bracket, and we're gonna vote on what we think the best fast food chain is. Taco Bell was the best one.
Of course.
And it was between that or Chick-fil-A.
I like to cuddle my dog. Doing little things like that is how I'm trying to better my mental health.
They're used to just, everything being exciting and fun, and this is not. This is really hard. This is scary.
There are people fighting some pretty tough things, fighting some illnesses, fighting COVID. We have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what this earth or world is going to be like in a year. We're all going through this really tough time right now that we've never imagined going through, and we're all going through it together.